Hey, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal Podcast, Women in Football Series. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Glad to be back with another episode. I have a great guest coming back to the show for the second time and looking forward to diving in this NFL season. And the first time she was on, had a great conversation. So I'm glad to bring her back. But before we get started, hit my music. Let's get it. All right, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Like I said, glad to be back with another incredible episode. This is our Women in Football series continues. I've had a lot of great and incredible women in this space, whether it's content creation or journalists, broadcasters, influencers, and everything. But I got another great returning guest coming up. But before I bring her on, you can follow the show on all the podcast platforms, whether it's YouTube. We're also on Spotify and Apple, BS3 Network, BS3TVLive.com, BS3 Network Roku channel. And you can also follow me on all the social media platforms, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Facebook as well. So you can follow me on all those platforms as well. So let me bring in my returning guest in my Women in Football series, Ballers Meg. Like I said, she's been on the show once before. Looking forward to diving in, and I had a great conversation with her. So I'm looking forward to the NFL season's here. It's the NFL kickoff. We had college football, slew of games last week, from Thursday all the way until Monday or Tuesday at least. And so a lot of good stuff going on. But the NFL starts on Thursday. My Philadelphia Eagles hosting the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles hosting Dallas Cowboys on Thursday tomorrow. So, Ballers Meg, welcome to the show. Really appreciate it.
Hi, thank you for having me back.
Yes, all the way from across the pond in the UK, Ballers Meg. And you've seen her, like I said, on TikTok, do a podcast, TikTok, and Facebook, Twitter, and everything too. So she's been making her rounds too. So for sure. And I'm like I said, I'm glad that she's been part of this series as well. So again, thank you for doing this. Really appreciate it.
No, thanks for having me. Like I said, lots of fun last time, so I'm sure it'll be fun this time too.
Yeah. I'm so glad to have met you and connected with you. And now we're here doing a second podcast together. So with football season here, how excited are you for the NFL? I know you on one of your, I think it was on one of your TikTok videos, you were talking about the college season. Football is just here, but how excited are you with football right around the corner, NFL right around the corner?
Oh, I am so ready. Football is back, baby. I am
Yes.
so excited. This is what we've been waiting for, let's be honest, since
Yep.
February. And it is my favorite time of year right now.
Yeah, for sure. Mine too. Mine, yes, definitely. When NFL, when college, when football just starts, whether it's high school, whether it's college, whether it's little league, because I've coached little league football before, and the pros. It's just the fall starts to change here in the States, and the weather's changing, and it's like it's football season, and I literally know my favorite team, the Philadelphia Eagles, are playing the first game of the season. It's been a long time since they've done that. With the first game of the year against the Dallas Cowboys, or their rivals. So I'm very excited, and it's here, and it's going to be electric. They get their banners coming up and everything too. So, and then that just starts the weekend, because then the Chiefs and Chargers are Friday, and then Sunday and Monday. So yeah, it's very exciting times.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. So let's dive right in. And like I said, you're very excited about the season and everything too. And you, I think on another video you had brought up how you're getting like a lot of your games on the zone, And is that where you would do you have Red Zone also, or and everything in the UK, or is it just? I know you said you get a lot of the games on the Zone. You said you just got a slew of games on the Zone.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting because the UK have actually only confirmed their deal for NFL last week, or certainly in the last 2 weeks. And the majority of games are on DAZN. Here in the UK. We get Red Zone via DAZN as well. But Sky Sports has also just signed a deal. So we get a couple of games on Sky Sports, a couple of games on DAZN, and then I host my very own Meg Zone rather than Red Zone,
Yeah,
where I go live during the Red Zone time, and we talk through all the touchdowns coming in, all the crazy plays that are happening live as it's unfolding as well. So it's yeah, it's a lot, and it's nice to see the sport being brought across the pond properly,
yes.
especially the expansion into college sports that DAZN have just signed. And I cannot tell you how much it means to us over here, because we really struggle to access a lot of the stuff up until this
Mm,
point,
yeah.
especially college. And so just seeing that rise in popularity fills me with hope that, it's becoming more popular over here. It's definitely something that we can access a lot easier.
For sure. And like you said, it was I mean you did a breakdown on the video with the new Sky NFL deal. You explained that, and you said the popularity of football and in general is so it's starting, and it's so global, it's getting global. I know basketball, that's been global, but global sport and the popularity. But now you said with with football it being the most popular sport in the states, you just said now you get access to, you said, Sky Sports and the Zone, and they're making these deals, and it's interesting too because there's so many good deals happening anyway. ESPN now has the app now that they just did, and the direct to consumer, we can just get everything just on one app as well, so you can watch all the games on there and everything too. So it's good that they expanded it, with Sky Sports and the Zone getting deals. And the NFL seems like it just feels like now networks, if you don't have a piece of the NFL, it's like they're missing something, because so many different networks and are getting are getting a piece of the NFL.
Yeah, no, it is something that networks need to tap into. And it's a huge, huge moneymaker for a lot of networks as well. And
Yeah.
they would be silly not to, let's be honest.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then Disney just bought the NFL Network, Red Zone. They have, they got that deal. It's supposed to be within the next year or so. So you have that and involved with it. And yeah, so I mean, like I said, it seems like now these networks got to have a piece of the NFL,
Yeah.
and so much money, so much money. So involved, and yeah, they definitely are. So I'm glad that you're able to watch it. And you have, they said, the Meg Zone, kind of like the Red Zone, where you do your highlights and talk about some of the plays when it gets to the Red Zone. So I like that. I like that concept. And you said you're like almost live broadcasting, kind of like the Red Zone.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is a lot of fun, and people get really involved. And, from all different teams will be on watching, chatting, you know, bringing in football season this weekend is going to be a lot of fun. I'm actually not able to do it this weekend because the NFL are bringing live events to the UK
Mm,
for opening season.
okay.
And so I will be at a live event in Manchester in England where they're flying in chefs from the stadiums. They're
Oh,
doing
wow.
games before the build up starts. They're doing photo opportunities. So yeah, there's a lot of people who are traveling to, and they're completely free to attend as well. So just that nod from the NFL that they're actually, investing that extra time into the UK fans. And it's not just London, it's other cities, it's diversifying who can access them. Um
Wow.
so
Okay.
it's super exciting this weekend. I'm meeting up with a lot of UK NFL fans in
Mhm.
Manchester, and it's just going to be a blast.
That sounds incredible. As you said, just to be able to have an opportunity to have an event like that, and get the networking, connect, and again, it just shows how much the NFL, how much how much of a big sporting event it is, and as a company and everything too. That's amazing. So yeah, that should be a lot of fun. I'm
Yeah.
sure. Bringing in chefs and things like that. Yeah, I need to come over there and with
Definitely.
the for sure. All right, well that's really cool. So that's some of the things to watch for as well. So that's really good. All right, let's get into this season. What are you most excited about? We could go with teams or players. Any players or teams that you're looking forward to, or that you think is going to do really well, or just certain players or team that you're more looking forward to this season.
Obviously, I'm going to start off with my Falcons. I
Yes,
am
yes.
so excited to see that we finally managed to hopefully sort out our defense in this off
Hmm.
season. We've drafted well. We have used the off season to really bolster our defense, and with Mike Penix starting, with just the footage that I'm seeing coming from those training camps, I am so excited and ready for a new version of the Falcons to be out on that field this season. Um, but if I'm going away from my kind of homer pick of my Falcons, I am really excited to see Ashton Genty and what he can do over at the Raiders.
Yeah.
Um, the Broncos are my little team that I've just got my eye on this season. I think there's going to be some magic happening across there as well. Um, Obviously, we're all interested to see if the Eagles can come back as strong as they were last season.
Hmm.
I don't see why they can't. They've got absolute weapons on that team that are phenomenal. Um, but looking at, they have lost some key pieces as well, so it's just going to be interesting as to whether they can keep that consistency and that solidarity that we expect from the Eagles at this point. Um, but yeah, there's so much to look for. It's so difficult to like put it into a capsule of one or
Yeah.
two things because there's just so much to look forward to. Nobody knows what these teams are going to look like come this weekend, where we're seeing the new versions for the first time, and I think that's for me one of the most exciting things is that nobody knows what to expect week one. Um, we've got the preseason games are nothing to go on.
Yeah.
Um, and we know that, I like to refer to it as their vanilla playbooks that we've seen in pre-season. We're
Yes.
not seeing anything exciting or spicy in the pre-season. We're looking forward to, what's new, what's fresh, those first teams getting out there and on the field and taking a look at what they really look like for the season ahead is going to be so exciting.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And especially with week one, you don't really know what to expect. Because of a lot of the teams don't in the preseason doesn't play their starters anymore at all. And I know the Eagles over the last couple of years, last couple of seasons, they haven't played any of their number one. A few players played, but the ones that are good, that were fighting for their, for the if they could be get on the team. But other than that, is like the star players and stuff. They didn't play the number one. So you're right. This is like their preseason. Usually, some teams start very slow until about week 4, week 5, and then they get going because you said there's a lot of vanilla offenses, and it's your second team, second stringers and third stringers. They say trying to make the team, and you could do. Oh, you only do so much in training camps and I think that's why they do all they have the joint practices now. So that's kind of like their preseason, but it's nothing like live game action and everything too. So I am looking forward to see how week one and week two is always, especially if you play fantasy football too. It's like you just don't know who's gonna shine, who's gonna do well, who's not gonna do well, who start out slow, things like that. So yeah, I'm with you um, on that. And you talked about your Falcons and in that division, which is super wide open. And I think we talked about this before on our last show we did, how much the Falcons could actually win that division. And I know Tampa Bay is the favorites amongst a lot of people, and they had a tremendous year last season, but uh, it is wide open. So how much expectation do you have for your Atlanta Falcons to win to win that division.
Yeah, and I think, being realistic on that, between us and the Bucks, it's going to be close. It's going to be a tight division.
Yeah.
I think nobody should be sleeping on the Panthers this season. I really think that
Yeah.
they've got some gas in the tank that they're going to show us. I'd like to think that we can do it. I'd like to think that we have what it takes this season. But I'm realistic to know that the Buccaneers have got a great QB1. Baker Mayfield is phenomenal. I love what he does over there. Um, you've got Godwin, you've got Evans. Both of them took big hits last season, but they're no joke. We can't be sleeping on them. We have to acknowledge the talent that's on that squad. However, we do have one of the top running backs in the league. We've also got a great receiver core. We've also got, a young, fresh QB1 who is coming out uninjured, who's coming out hot with expectation on himself, hot with the expectation of the fans. We've got the system which is now, in the second year of being bedded in, getting rid of that old Arthur Smith system, looking at, utilising Kyle Pitts a lot better than we have previously. I genuinely believe it could go either way for the Buccaneers and the Falcons, closely followed by the Panthers, and then I think the Saints are in a complete rebuild and aren't anybody that I'm really concerned about right now. But like we say, until we've seen that first few games of the season, till we get to week 4 or 5, it's so difficult to kind of put a number on. I personally have got an optimistic 11-6 season for the Falcons. We don't have a super easy schedule, but we did beat Tampa Bay twice last season.
Yes.
And I can see us beating the Saints this season. I think the Panthers will give us a run for our money. I think we might win one of the games against them and lose the other one. But it's wide open, like you say. It really is wide open. The NFC South is really ours for the taking if we can get ourselves together enough and be consistent enough to take it.
Yes, you're right. I think you said you got one of the best running backs, definitely top 4 running backs in Bijan and Robinson, and as you said, the receiving core led by Drake London. That looks like, I mean, he's such a weapon, a deep threat, and just a good all around receiver. And then you said Michael Penix now now is the QB1, and now doesn't have to worry about he's the starter. And now, had a full training camp as the number 1 quarterback. So now we get to see what he loves to throw. He loves to throw the deep ball. Got a strong arm, cannon of an arm. So there's going to be a lot of deep shots there for the Falcons. And like I said, with the running Algier and Bijan, that 1-2 punch, they're always in the mix. With that, it's such a good 1-2 punch. So yeah, the Falcons offensively should be really good, and they should be a little bit better on the defensive side of the football too. And what you said with that division, the NFC South, you brought it up with the Saints on a full rebuild. They might be the worst team in the league, and then also you said Carolina, they will be improved. I have a feeling they'll be much improved. But I think it does come down to Tampa Bay and Atlanta. And you said Tampa Bay, is the favorites because of the season they had last year and bringing, with Baker Mayfield having such a career year last season. They are odds on favorite in that division, but I'm not going to sleep on Atlanta either, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right. Any other teams that you're looking forward that you could see making a jump, or at least who maybe did make the playoffs, or who you're optimistic about improving? You talked about a little bit about Carolina, maybe improving a little bit. Any other of some of the bottom teams that you might think that could actually make a jump, kind of like what Washington did last season?
Yeah, I think we need to be keeping an eye out on the Patriots, much as it pains me as an Atlanta fan to say that. They've done a lot of work on that O-line behind Drake May. And my main concern all last season when Drake May was named QB1 was that he didn't have anyone protecting him particularly well. The boy was running for his life, and we were, I was very concerned about his safety. And seeing the work that they've done this off season, I think that they're going to make big steps forward. Obviously, they've got Mike Rabel in at head coach now. He is, a force to be reckoned with, and I think he brings a lot to that team.
Yes, I agree. I like that. I think the Patriots too. Again, another division where the Bills are the cream of the crop, the top, for sure. But New England, Miami. We don't know about Miami with that dynamic with their offense has now teams done caught up to their offense. They were so dynamic, but injuries and to their to Tua. He's still probably, hopefully he has good health heading into, but one concussion away from really retiring. So you got just this concerning there. Tyreek Hill, availability and, injuries himself and, what off the field things with him. So we'll see what happens there with Miami. And so, New England, I like them as a sleeper to make some noise. I'm not sure playoffs, but they would definitely be they're going to be very improved. And I think you brought up Denver earlier, which I think they're another team that is a lot of people are saying that Denver could be very improved and everything too. Solid defense and things like that. So we'll see how much Denver can make some noise. They made the playoffs last year too, so see if they can continue to improve as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I like Denver as well. So any team that you're concerned that might take a step back, any of the some of the top teams that you have concerns with, whether it's a roster turnover or anything like that, anything within teams that, like I said, maybe made the playoffs that might not make the playoffs or might disappoint?
I don't think that they're going to miss out on playoffs, but I don't think the Chiefs are going to be as hot as they have been the last few seasons. I think that Travis Kelce's not far off of retirement. Realistically, next couple of years, I would expect him to be gone. He's not been as hot as he was. Last season we saw him struggling with numbers. We didn't see him being as productive as what he has been. I think Patrick Mahomes, everybody goes on about how amazing he is at QB, but realistically, the last time we saw him was that Super Bowl, and we saw what happened at that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He was not the Pat Mahomes that everybody talks about. He really wasn't. Going into the second quarter of a game with no points on the board, that's not the quality that we would expect from him. So I think just a wary eye out on Chiefs to say, I don't necessarily think that they're going to do the best. And I still think they'll make playoffs. I still think that they've got that, Coach Reid is legendary, let's be honest. And if anybody can do it, then he can. But I do think they're going to have some difficult decisions to make this season in order to get the best team out there on the field. I think that there's not any... Again, it's difficult to say before the season. I don't think there's any major concerns. I think the Bengals defense concerns me a little bit. I love Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I think he's amazing. But their defense is so sadly lacking that's a concern. And it's a shame, really, because I think Joe Burrow is a generational talent, and I think that if he can stay healthy, and he's got again some real decent offensive weapons, but that defense lets them down, and that's a concern, I would say, for me, definitely. Can the Cowboys get any worse than they already were? Probably not. But realistically, looking at what they've done, yes, obviously they've got Bland, but they've got rid of Micah Parsons. They've added George Pickens, which could be a surprising matchup with Dak Prescott, but Dak Prescott struggles to stay healthy. I think the 49ers are a bit of an unknown entity this season as well. They've made a lot of moves, but whether it's going to translate to success on the field, again, we can't really say for sure. It's hard to kind of cast our mind back to, 2 Super Bowls ago when 49ers are competing against the Chiefs. And then you look at what we saw last season, was it a blip? Was it what's going to happen there? Is the big question for me anyway. And then obviously JJ McCarthy coming in at the Vikings. Can he replicate Sam Darnold's success from last season? That's a worry. We don't know. He's an unknown factor as well. Obviously we didn't get to see him last season because of that injury. I'm hopeful. I think he's got a lot of potential. But will the Vikings maybe fall off a little bit? Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, there's a lot of headlines. There's a lot of good headlines, and I agree with most of it. And you're right, the Michael Parsons deal, which that just he was their best player. He was Dallas's best player, and they traded him. How that all turned out with Jerry Jones was interesting, and the Cowboys. So now I think I really do feel like they take a big, huge step back, even from last year. And could Dak stay healthy? That's another issue. And do they have enough? They can't stop the run, the Cowboys, and you trade your best player and on defense. And that does that, that makes them worse for sure. He said, can they get worse? Who knows? They might. They might be able to. I mean, as an Eagles fan, I love to see it, but you're right. I don't know what's going on with the Cowboys and what they're going to look like and everything too. So, that's a team that could definitely disappoint. I've been hearing a lot, of people talk about the Rams and how they feel like the Rams, they either going to be really good or some people are predicting they might not even make the playoffs. So it's like, I guess it depends on, again, health with Stafford. Is he healthy enough to lead the charge? Because they definitely need a healthy Stafford to get past to where they were last year. I mean, they were right there. They were the only team in the NFC in the playoffs to give the Eagles a run. If it wasn't for those two plays by Jalen Carter, those two tremendous plays, then the Rams end up beating us, and then who knows? Maybe they go to the Super Bowl after that. But I am interested to see how much they will improve as well. But yeah, there's a lot of headlines heading into the season, so it's going to be an exciting season. So what things you got coming up with this season? You said you talked about going to that event first week, which you might see me in UK this weekend. But no, you have that. But what else you got coming up within this season?
Oh, there's a lot happening for me. A lot of it really exciting things. I am co-hosting some weekly podcasts where we preview over on Hurdle the Line. We preview the week every Thursday, and we look ahead to the weekend of games. I'm currently about to tonight actually film a video for the NFL in the UK, which they've asked me to do. So that's something to keep an eye out for.
Okay.
I am running in 36 fantasy football leagues this season.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm over on the Blonde Blitz as the resident fantasy football expert, and same on the TSS Fantasy Show as well. Bringing out some new basketball content that's to come. A big announcements on that one next week. I can't say too much at the minute, but it's definitely something to keep an eye out for. But yeah, there's so much happening. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I'll be able to maybe even get out to Atlanta to a game this season. Nothing definite, but they are playing in Germany, so a lot closer to home for me. That might well be a shout to head on over and potentially head into the London games this season if I can make it down there as well. So there's just so much in the pipeline that's waiting to be confirmed or about to happen or about to be announced in the next few weeks that is making me super excited, on top of the football side of things. And recently got into the college football side, so that's my learning curve for this season, is to really get stuck in with college football. And now that it's
Yeah.
available here, it just makes it so much easier for us to do that. But yeah, lots and lots of exciting things happening.
A lot of content, a lot of different things happening for you. We definitely gonna have. I'm definitely gonna have you on for basketball for sure. We'll do some NBA, props and preview and things like that, because that's still, I love the NFL, but NBA is still my favorite sport. The NFL is close second though. But yeah, and I'm on the Blonde Blitz tonight actually with Deb Wickes. Tonight, she had asked me last minute. She said, "Hey, you want to come on the show? I'm doing my NFL kickoff," and I said, "For sure, yes, yes." For a 15-minute segment, which I've been. She was on the show a couple weeks ago. On the Real Deal. So I said, "Yes, I definitely got to return the favor for a good friend." And she did say that you're going to be on there as well weekly, to help out as well. So I'm looking forward to all that content, and that was a good friend. So yeah, so looking forward to you on there and all the content you got coming up. So yeah, look, it's going to be an exciting time for sure.
Definitely,
Yes,
definitely.
yes. Well, Meg, it is always a pleasure catching up with you, and thanks again for doing this. This was so much fun, just diving into NFL kickoff week. I had to have you on for the my Women in Football highlight, what you do, Women Football Series highlight what you do, and things like that. And but before I let you go, you say you're in over 30 fantasy football leagues. How are you going to manage? That's a lot. And I used to do so many fantasy football leagues. I think I got two this year. So
Smart.
I scaled back. Last year I think I had 10, and I scaled back to just two. People have been asking me, and they said, you can't say no, you can't say no. I say, yeah, I'm gonna say no because I want to concentrate on just my two main ones. I play a
Yeah.
lot of DFS, DraftKings. I do that, so I'll concentrate on those three. But you said 36 fantasy leagues and everything too. How was that? Like just being able to dive in. How long you been playing fantasy football?
So I've been doing fantasy football the last 3 seasons.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and basically what happens, I find, is that because I'm connected with so many people in the NFL community, people get in touch with me and they say, "We're doing a fantasy football league and it's for charity. Do you
Yeah.
want to be in?" And when somebody tells me it's for charity, I'm not
You
really
can't
that
say
bothered
no,
about
right?
winning. I'm not going to say, I'm not out
Yeah.
here being like, and I'm a very competitive person,
Yep.
but when it comes to things like that for charity, then it does, to me, it doesn't really matter. It's for the
Yeah.
greater good, right?
Yep.
If I can use my platform to raise awareness and put a little bit of
Yes.
love out there
Yeah.
for some charity, then I'm all for it. So I've donated to quite a lot of them are charity leagues. I started my own fantasy football leagues through my own social media, and they filled up so quickly that I ended up, what was one league has now resulted in 5 different leagues,
Mm.
dynasty leagues, all sorts. Um, and it just grows arms and legs. And so then it started to become a bit of a thing. Well, Meg's your fantasy person. She'll be the person that you can ask about fantasy football.
Yes.
And so it kind of came about through that. And then I currently am working on a spreadsheet. Is my only answer. I don't have the answer to what the best way to handle 36 leagues is. It is
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
too many for any one person. Um,
Yes.
but what I
Yes.
would say is, like a lot of those are best ball leagues. So that
Yeah.
means that whatever happens, I'm not really having to manage those
Right.
each
Right.
week.
Yeah.
But the most important ones, the ones that are, um the dynasty ones and things like that, those will be tracked on a spreadsheet, and I
Mhm.
will just be doing my best to
Yep.
to keep on top of them all each week.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah, there's not much else you can do. Pick'ems is easy. You can do fire those off in a couple of minutes, but for the rest of them, yeah, spreadsheets and prayers.
Yeah, that's a lot of leagues, and I like I said, I know a lot of people, like you said, connected with a lot of people in fantasy football and football in general who do a lot of leagues, and um, they're connected to the Fantasy Football Expo and things like that. And I ask them all the time, like, how many leagues are you in? They ask me how many leagues you in, and I said, well, I had the 2 drafts, and I did one for charity. I did Are you in the Scott Fish Bowl?
Yeah, yeah,
Yep, me too, me too. So I did that. That's for charity, free. I mean, you could donate to anyone that wants to get involved in Scott Fish Bowl. It's the biggest football draft ever, and it does for charity. Fantasy Cares for charity as well, so you can donate. They do a lot of they do a lot of donation. They give donations and things like that, prizes and things like that too. But it is for charity, which this is my third year with the Scott Fish Bowl. As well. So I love when I get that email in that as well. Like I said, it's the biggest. It's like 10. I don't know how many thousands of people playing. So many different divisions and everything too. As you said, I'm competitive too. So, but that's for charity as well. So, but you're right. These spreadsheets to manage those things, and don't forget to set your lineups up and all those things. So, yeah, you need those alerts and everything too. So, but yeah, fantasy football is so much fun. Fantasy sports is just so much fun.
yeah.
For sure. Yes. So, all right, Meg. Well, thanks again for doing this. I really appreciate your time. And before we go, let everyone know where they can follow you on social media, and then follow like the announcements and where you're going to be and things like that. And they can follow all your content.
Yeah, so it's nice and easy, to be fair, because it's at ballers_Meg on all the platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, all of those. The Meg Zone on YouTube, it is running in its very basic form right now. It has a couple of short videos up, but keep an eye on that one. Hurdle the Line over on the Sleep at Work Network, TSS Fantasy on that Sports Podcast Network, and of course the Blonde Blitz with our lovely friend Debs Whitkiss as well on that Sports Podcast Network too.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah.
Yeah, so follow Meg, follow the content, and she might be at a place near you. And but like I said, I love the content and over in UK, and like I said, you're able to watch now a lot of games now, so that was a big plus. But I'm so glad to have connected with you, and again, thank you again. Really appreciate the time and this conversation. So thanks again, and enjoy the season. And when NBA season begins, we'll do this again.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
All right, you were welcome. All right, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a good rest of the week and enjoy the games.
You too.
All right, thanks.